Okay, so did we talk about parallel universes?
No.
Is that the same thing as the movie reference?
Yes.
You talked about movie and then switching movies a little bit. But
Yes, so the movie references is parallel universes. Okay, so let's recap what we've learned so far. Who wants to give me like a recap of what we've learned in Kabbalah the past few weeks? Nina.
you have to like give me a subject. Like,
Okay. You're triggered. What do you do?
Pause. And that's when you connect to the light.
Yeah.
And then I remember the thing about like different, your different tendencies, like what you're prone to and what you need to do to correct like that side of yourself. Like, so some people need to be more vocal, some people need to be more quiet, that kind of thing.
Okay.
What else?
So immediately, let's say you're triggered. Your kid is talking back. Your husband is being mean. Your friend called you names. You're triggered. What do?
You're silent.
Pause, then what? What's the next one? Who can help Nina?
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, pause, it's a
yeah.
pleasure. Okay, what's the next step?
So why is this, you think about why is this happening?
Yes, why is it in my movie?
Mhm.
Exactly.
And then,
What is it trying to teach you?
yeah.
Okay, so the next one is gonna be, we're gonna get into it more. Pause, it's a pleasure. Why is it in my movie? Then it's gonna be, why is it in my movie is a prayer. It's communication to the creator. Why is it in my movie? You're opening yourself up to the universe to kind of get messages and figure out why this is happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 is certainty. Okay, do you remember, who remembers the certainty formula? Nobody? It's from the creator. It's from the creator and it's good.
And it's good.
It's from the creator, it's good, and it's here to propel me forward. It's here to teach me something so I can move forward.
And then
Okay.
you can sometimes bypass, I remember that, like bypass things when you're connected, and if you learn,
Yes.
then you bypass things that would have maybe happened.
Yes.
That doesn't.
Exactly. You don't have to experience something negative because you've gone through enough challenges where you've kind of upgraded your movie, so you skipped the movie that includes that challenge. Okay, so that was the whole thing about free will versus destiny. That our free will, who remembers, when do you have free will? When is the only time you have free will? The only time we have free will is when you're presented with a challenge. Your only free will is to be reactive or not be reactive. That means you don't have free will, what you wore today, what color you dye your hair, okay? You think you're making that choice, you're not. That choice has been decided for you. You're just going through the motions. Your only free will is that moment that you're triggered, how you react. Are you gonna upgrade your life or are you downgrading it? Okay, so every time you react. So I was talking to someone this week and they said to me, when I get upset, I have to let the person know. Break it down for me, tell me, what is that? Is that a good thing?
That's a reaction.
That's a reaction.
Yeah.
What should the person do?
Pause.
Pause. The person, when I said pause, the person said, what if I have to pause for a month?
For
A month.
A month.
What if I'm angry for 1 month?
But then why can't you think about why that person triggered you and figure out why that trigger's there?
So the person said, when can I talk to this person? And my answer was, when you're no longer triggered. When you're no longer feeling, when it's not coming from lack, when it's not coming from pain, when it's not coming from hurt, when it's not coming from, why did you do that to me? Okay, which is very hard. It's very hard. And then the other thing is, whatever level you're on, your challenge is going to be on that level. We're going to learn more about that this time. So everybody, so the guy in Africa, the person in Iran, the person sitting, I don't know, in Cape Town, everybody, no matter what, your socioeconomic status, whether you're single, you're married, everybody experiences the same level of challenge, the same level of pain. So when you look at someone and you're like, wow, for instance, they don't have an arm. That must be so hard. And you look at someone else and they're going crazy about, I don't know, something dumb. Someone offended them, someone invited them, someone didn't invite them, something stupid. That challenge for that person is the same as the challenge of the person without an arm. It's not our challenge. So we look at that person and we're like, you're making such a big deal out of this. But for them, it's crippling. Everybody's challenge is crippling for them on their level. Okay, so sometimes people say to me, oh, I don't mean to be ungrateful. It could be worse. It could be worse. Yes, it could be worse. But your challenge is crippling for you. It's okay. You could accept that. You don't have to like downplay it because, you know, we have two arms. Okay, we're good?
Can I ask you something?
Yes, please.
So like you said, basically when you're angry and you really want to tell this person how you feel, and you're supposed to just analyze the situation. Why am I feeling this way? Because I missed a few classes, so I'm a little trying to catch up. So you're supposed to like analyze why is this happening to me instead of confronting this person and telling her what's going on.
We'll talk about confrontation in a few weeks to go into detail with it. But for now, give me an example.
Give you an example. Okay, let's say somebody said something about me, a family member, to somebody that is just twisting it that it's my fault, and it's not my fault, then everybody's mad at me. Kind of like that.
Okay, and what do you feel?
What do I feel? I feel very angry. I feel disappointed. And I want to tell everybody what really happened. I want to call each one person and tell them this is exactly what happened. Just totally twisting everything.
Because you feel like it's not reality, it's not fair. They made you look bad, they embarrassed you.
And it was the opposite.
And it was the opposite.
It wasn't even my fault.
Okay, so what if I told you, and this is where the Truman Show comes in, what if I told you that before you were born, when your soul picked this life, it knew that this was gonna happen, it orchestrated it. You don't have to give me the names, but let's say their names are like Stephanie and Jessica, and they were talking to each other and they spread all these rumors about you. That was the plan before you were born. You knew that when you're, 30 years old, Jessica and Stephanie are gonna say these things, and it's gonna make you feel, what did you say, angry, disappointed, offended,
It's not fair.
not fair, all those things. That feeling was supposed to be evoked in you to give you an opportunity to level up. So this is where the Truman Show comes in. The Truman Show, did anyone see it besides Massa?
I saw it before.
Okay, so the Truman Show, the whole premise of it is there's a guy and he's living in this like facade of a world, okay, where every encounter when he walks, the person who says hi, the person he talks to, his best friend, everyone is a puppet. It's all set up. It's all like, he's part of a movie plan, let's say, and he thinks it's real life, but it's not. It's all perfectly orchestrated. Okay, so this, and I know I don't mean to take away from the pain of it. I know it sucks, it's painful, but it's here only to make you feel those feelings so you don't react and you level up. It's showing your cavity because somebody else could be in your same situation and they could be like, doesn't bother me, so they talk shit, whatever. Who cares?
It bothers me.
It would bother many people, but it's because there's something that's being touched within you. So you want to talk to her and say, why did you do this? Is that what I'm getting? As long as you're feeling, as long as you're coming from lack and you're feeling upset, angry, frustrated, disrespected, anything you say is going to come from that place of lack. And it's going to attract more chaos into your life. You can only talk to the other person when you sit there and you figure out, why is this in my life? Why did this happen? Why is this in my movie? What is this trying to show within me? What is my cavity? Once you go in there and you don't feel that pain, that's the only time you can talk to the other person.
Let's say you figure it out.
Thank you.
Is it worthwhile even talking to the person thereafter? Or did you just got your message, so just leave it at that, move on to your next level?
That's for you to figure out. Once you figure it out, you're done. But if you feel the need to say something, not feel the need, if you think the relationship will benefit or that person will benefit from hearing something like this and they're open to it, because if they're not open, it's like they don't have a vessel for it. So what is it like? It's like I have a cup, this is their vessel, and you're trying to pour water. And you're like, but I want to tell you what's happening. The water's spilling everywhere. They can't contain it. You're causing chaos.
But how does Kabbalah explain resent?
If you wait.
So I'm going to get
they
into
keep
that.
Doing it.
That's actually perfect. Well, there's two parts of resentment. One part, we'll get into it right now. It's going to be the end of my class. You'll hear about it. But when you're feeling resentment, that's your issue. That's not them. Everybody in your life is a puppet sent by the creator to evoke things within you. That's why the Truman Show was kabbalistic in that sense. Did anyone see that other one, The Good Place? So the premise of The Good Place is this girl dies. The girl who plays Anna from Frozen, she dies, and she's not sure if she's in heaven or if she's in hell or if she's in limbo. She doesn't know where she is.
After she dies.
Yeah. And it's a comedy. It's a very light show. You can watch it with your kids. And they give her a house, and they give her like a small house next to a mansion. And they go into that, she goes into the house, and it's decorated with clowns, and she hates clowns. And the whole time at the Good Place, things are happening that irritate her, that frustrate her. And it's all perfectly designed. They know what they're doing. It's like a whole AI system to piss her off. So that is what our life is. Our life is perfectly situated, like AI for each person. What bothers you? The chewing, the loud noises, irritating noises bother me. They're always around me. There's always someone, always, okay? But that might not be someone else's trigger. Yeah. Someone offending you, that's your trigger to not feel respected, like your ego. They have to respect me. They have to respect my family. They have to invite me. That's going to keep on happening to you. Why? Because your tikkun attracts your situation. So much so that if you didn't have that tikkun, that situation would not come your way. Meaning, if I weren't irritated by people licking their fingers and eating with their hands, that wouldn't be around me so much. Okay? Okay. So the tikkun is not with the person, it's the feeling the person evokes in you. Do you get it? So your correction, your issue, your real tikkun is not Jessica and Stephanie, whatever their names are. It's the situation that they brought up in you. The tikkun is in you. It's the feelings. It's the resentment. It's the anxiety. It's the fear. It's the, they made me look bad. People don't, all that stuff, that is your tikkun. And they're just here to point it out. And they're puppets. Okay? Yeah. So when we say that everyone is an illusion, right? The Truman Show is another indication of that. If you guys haven't seen it, just even watch a half hour of it. The people, the cast, the people in his life are not even real. They're just actors. So when someone says to me, that person wronged me, it's not fair, I'll do it back to them. You're gonna do it back to a puppet? You're gonna now do something reactive in response to the message that came to you? It doesn't make sense. Okay. Okay, anything else you want to go over from previous stuff, or should I just go into the new stuff? New stuff? Okay. Okay. So the new stuff. So we spoke about the only way to enjoy something is to earn it, right? We spoke about that. You have to earn something.
Threat of shame.
We're getting there. You're ahead of everyone. So the only way to earn something and to enjoy it, to get pleasure from it, is if you earn it. So let's say you're making a puzzle with your kindergartner, okay? And the kid is struggling, so you finish the puzzle for them. Is the kid happy? Why? The kid wanted to do the puzzle, you did it for them. Why isn't the kid happy? Or you help your kid with Legos. They're trying to make a Lego case and you built it for them. You're like, look, you were struggling, I did it for you. Is the kid happy? Why?
They need that challenge to go through
Yes.
making the puzzle.
Yes, the enjoyment comes from overcoming that challenge. If you don't overcome the challenge, you don't derive the enjoyment. So if you're married to someone right now, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If you're married to someone and you're not enjoying your relationship, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a child, whether it's your parents, a friend, whatever, Why was it that you were enjoying it before and you're not enjoying it now? What happened?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
My kids are little, I'm sorry.
I'm going to touch on that. But yes, why aren't you enjoying it anymore? Why did you enjoy it before and not now?
Your challenge changed.
You changed.
You changed.
What happened in the beginning of the relationship? What? None of that is true. What happened in the beginning of a relationship?
It was new.
So what are you doing? You
You
put effort. You're on your best behavior. You get dressed up, right? You think about that person. You act in a way to like be your best self, to put your best foot forward. And so are they. So what are you doing? You're earning your soulmate. You're earning the good relationship. After a while, what happens? We think you don't have to earn it anymore. You think it should just be like that, but it's not. It's like chewing gum, right? You chew gum, the first few minutes tastes really good, and then it's like stale. It loses its flavor. You need to earn it. So when you're talking about the kids, once we get married, what happens? It's like your cup is this big. When you get married, your cup doubles. Okay? So what does that mean? That means this amount of light, this amount is not going to fill up 2 cups. You're going to feel empty. So what happens immediately when people get married? They have a little bit of the blues right afterwards. They're like, wait a minute, what just happened? There's a little down. Why is there the down? Because that amount of light isn't going to fill the new larger vessel. You have to double the light. You have to double the effort. So what happens when you have kids? You've quadrupled it. So now you have the same amount of light coming into your family, coming into your life, but a larger vessel. So every time you're getting it's wonderful. Kids are a blessing. Being in a relationship is a blessing. But when you get there, your vessel is larger. You have the capacity for more. You have to step it up a notch.
For those more light.
So yes, you have to step it. Otherwise, it's like, when you have like, you first got married, you're like, we were in a 400 square foot studio. A tiny studio. All we had was like a Murphy bed and a coffee table, and that's it. It was totally furnished. There's no room for anything else. What happens as you go into a bigger house? Your coffee table it's gonna be empty. You need to furnish it. You need to fill it up. Otherwise, it feels empty. So that's what it is. Every time you're in you're married or have kids or something of that caliber, you're expanding your vessel. You have to make sure to double up your efforts. Okay. So we need to earn things. That was the point. If I give it to you for free, you don't earn it. So why is it that we know some things are bad for us, but we do it anyway? And we don't do the things we know are good for us. What are things that we know that are good for us that we don't do? Who could give me an answer? Exercise. We know it's good. Why don't we do it? What else? What else?
Eat healthy.
Eat healthy.
Eat well.
We know what to eat and what not to eat. Why don't we make the better choices? Why do we self-sabotage?
Because it's hard when it's not instant gratification. So with exercise and like healthy, it's like more long term. And I feel like when you don't see the results right away, it's hard to stay with it.
Yeah, correct. So when we wake up every morning, okay, people usually wake up with a little bit of a bad mood. Okay, why? You got your soul without earning it. So the first thing you need to do is now put in work to earn. What happens if you hit the snooze button and you sleep for another 2 hours? Do you wake up feeling happy? You don't. You don't wake up feeling happier. Why? You wanted to sleep and you got to sleep. Why don't you wake up happier in 2 hours? You actually wake up a little bit more depressed. So the way to combat that is you wake up, you need to start doing things to earn light. Okay, to earn physical and spiritual light. What happens after you go to the gym?
Feel great. You accomplished
You
something.
did something to earn physical and spiritual light.
So what do you do in the morning to gain light?
So you just start your day. So the first thing you're supposed to do is, we'll go into it in later classes, is there's a way to wash your hands. There's a mantra to say. You kind of separate we'll go into this. I'll go into that. That's a much later class. That's a much later class. Okay, so if we know, for instance, someone pisses you off, okay, and you're about to lash out at them, and you can hear this voice in your head saying, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. Why do we still say it? Are we crazy? You know, if you say that, you're going to ruin your friendship, you'll ruin your relationship, you'll mess things up with your spouse, your life will become harder, more chaotic, yet we still say it. Why?
Habit.
So what happens is there's an energy intelligence. So when God created the world, when the light created the world, he created us as vessels to receive everything. But in order to receive, we have to earn, right? So to earn, you have to have opposition. So there was an energy force that was created at the same time. An angel is just an energy force. And this angel's job is to oppose any way that we're creating light. So anything that we're gonna do that's gonna connect us to the light, the job of this angel is to oppose it. So it comes in your ear and says, just eat the cake. Just yell at him. Say what's on your mind. You deserve it. They offended you. They didn't invite you. They talked about you. You need to put him in check, right? All these things, it's the opposition. It's the opponent telling us to do something to break us away from the light. Our job is to overcome that. Where is the pause? When you pause, you're pausing the opponent. You're pausing the negative force. You're almost paralyzing it for a minute. That's why the pause is so important. So the code word for that energy force, that opposition, is Satan, okay? Don't think of Satan. It's not what TV has made it out to be, or religious folklore. It's not a guy with a pitchfork and ears. Satan cannot hurt you. Satan is God's right-hand man. It's a positive angel here to propel you forward, okay? Satan in Aramaic means to agitate and confuse. So anytime you're in that confused place, I don't know what to do, right? What is that word? Ashub, like you're just anxious and anxiety and that feeling, that's Satan. That's Satan. He's the reactive voice within us, and he distracts you from listening to your soul. The area in your life that you have the most difficulty, the most darkness, is the area where he's the strongest, and behind that is where you have the most amount of light.
Say that again.
The area that you have the most challenge, the most difficulty, that's the area where your Satan is the strongest, because there's the most light to be revealed. So wherever there's a lot of light to be revealed, Satan is going to be there. So let me give you an example. If you're going to go help orphans in Africa, okay, Satan will make it easy for you. Okay, sorry, he'll make it hard for you. But if you're going to go rob a bank, he'll make it easy. You'll almost be, why is it so easy to rob? Like, it's so easy to be, I don't want to say bad, but things that are reactive and disconnect you from the light. But anything that has light behind it is going to be a challenge. Everything will go wrong. That's why they say before a wedding, the Satan is the strongest. So couples, before they get married, they get into the most fights because the union of two souls is so powerful.
Because sometimes, like, some people will say, like, if the universe is on board with something, then it, like, that route opens up for you. So that's not true then. Because sometimes, you know what I mean, when you're connected, like, how do you know something's, I don't know what the word is, like, meant to be?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the universe supports you, and, like, you get signs and all that stuff.
So you're able to decipher what those signs are. You can hear if the signs, and as you do this, you'll get better at it, and I'm sure you're pretty good yourself, whether those signs are coming from the light or coming from Satan.
I mean, sometimes I feel like when you say things are meant to be, I feel like that's your story, and that's why you're like led in. I don't know if this is true, but that's why you're led in that direction, because it's supposed to happen.
Yeah?
It's already pre-written, so it's meant to happen.
But I understand your question. You're saying when things happen easily,
Yeah.
is it meant to be? Because, so if you're connected, if you're in a state of flow, okay, and things are happening, it's very different. So our whole goal in studying Kabbalah or any kind of spirituality is not to learn something interesting. It's to always remain connected. That energy is always there, right? The energy's there. Whether I turn on the light or not, that energy exists behind my walls. We always want to be in a place where we're plugged in. So all of this is about having that consciousness where you're plugged in. When you're plugged into that consciousness, it's called being in flow. Things happen for you.
Right.
The doors open, things happen. When you're not in flow, it's kind of like a swamp, it's stagnant, right? So how do we remain in flow? By always having our consciousness connected to the creator and being in a place of giving. Not giving because I want something from someone.
Right.
Giving, you're just giving because you're giving to be connected to the creator.
Got
Do you get it?
Yeah, so that's what I think what was my question. So sometimes I don't want to doubt myself if things are coming to me or I'm getting signs and then be like, wait, but it's not hard, so that's not my path.
No. Let me give you something else. Like, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to go do a favor for somebody. All of a sudden my car breaks down. Now the favor that I was going to do, the food that I was going to drop off spilled all over the floor. Like, and I'm giving a small example, but when you're going to do something good, things will come in the way. Like Massa, for instance, this just came to mind. She has a film that she's putting out that I feel like will put out a lot of light into the world because it's bringing awareness into something. She's going to face so many obstacles. She shouldn't say to herself, oh, that means I shouldn't do it.
Right.
She should think, wow, this has so much light behind it that I keep hitting red lights. Okay, so Satan's job. Satan's job is he wants you to think, he doesn't want you to know he exists. So I didn't expect all you guys to show up today. I thought because I'm talking about this, barely anyone's gonna show up. Because that energy that I already put out there to say this is the class about the negative force, people who hear it, automatically the Satan will be like, you have errands to run today. There's something else to do. Your kid is homesick. Just listen to the recording. You'll get the notes. You'll call her later, okay? Because when you identify Satan in your life, you kind of eliminate half of his power, right? You recognize him. He doesn't want you to think it's him. He wants you to think it's your mother-in-law, it's your sister-in-law, it's your boss, it's your friend, it's hormones, it's lack of sleep, it's whatever it is. It's the construction. All these things are making me upset, reactive, angry, right? But it's none of those. It's always one opponent. Who? It's always that one opponent. If someone upset you, it's because the light told them to do so. They don't even know why they're doing it. They're just doing it. That's in your script for you. Every time Satan comes to present a challenge for you, it's because you're about to upgrade your life and there's light behind that door.
Basically, if you want to say it in one sentence, Satan is a negative desire that you have.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Yes. It's to disconnect you from the light, disconnect you from being proactive. Anything you do that disconnects you, it's from Satan. Okay, so again, we think we're making decisions, but it's not. It's Satan. Eat this, do that, text that. Like, why is it sometimes you cannot help it? You just have to reply that text. You just have to send that text. Why? What is that? That's Satan telling you, send it. And why? When you do something reactive, it feels so good, right? When you tell that person off, you feel good, right? You send that text, oh, I sent it. What's happening? You're getting energy. Satan's not gonna make it miserable. Eating the cake feels good. Eating 5 slices of pizza feels good. You're gonna get that immediate strobe light of energy, but what happens afterwards? You have darkness. You have darkness. And where did that energy go? That energy now went to Satan, your Satan. So what happens? Your Satan is now stronger. So your next challenge is harder for you. That's why habits are hard to break.
Slices of pizza.
Right? Okay, so this kind of relates to what you were saying. Is it easier to run for PTA, city council, or the president of the US?
What's easier?
Yeah, what's easier?
PTA.
PTA. Why? As you have more potential for good, right? The Satan is going to be stronger. So running for PTA, some people will talk shit about you. Running for president, everyone is going to come after you. Why? Because you have the potential to make a big change, right? So anytime you're in that place of making that change, you're going to have that negative force. Okay. Pause. Any questions?
That and the pool just gets bigger, right? And for a PTA, are you using
Yeah.
that as an
Yes,
analogy?
yes, because the pool of people are bigger that you're going to be able to share light with,
Yeah.
right? PTA is just going to be your school.
Yeah.
City council is your city. If you're in charge of the country,
More of an
yeah, that vessel is bigger. The potential for light is bigger. Are we good? Am I moving too slow, too fast?
Perfect.
Okay. So how does,
Sarah,
yeah,
Before you go on, the PTA thing, I feel like that would actually attract more bad, just because I know those people. Whereas if I was president, I probably wouldn't interact with those people. So I
Yes.
feel like
but it would be on CNN, it'd be on
for
Fox
sure,
News.
no, but I'm saying, if I'm PTA, all of those people have my phone number. When I'm president, nobody has my phone number, or I have a secretary. So I feel like yes, there's the potential for more bad.
But they're digging into your past when you're president. They're going to expose everything that we know you did in high school, right? They're going to defame you.
Right.
That opposition is going to be much stronger. No one's digging into your high school past
Right.
at PTA.
Right.
Okay, you were going to ask me?
Just a quick question. So you were saying sometimes when something happens, don't be reactive and just wait until that laugh or whatever it is, you basically cool off. There have been times where like I've cooled off, but then all of a sudden it's like 2 or 3 weeks later and you're the DA, I'm like, okay, well there's no point in talking about it, and then it just like gets swept under the
Okay.
rug and then you move forward. So what
So the
happens
point,
then?
we're going to talk about this when we talk about confrontation and communication. The point in talking about it is because you're sharing with the other person. Do you get it? Everything you're doing with the mindset of being in flow, not being a swamp. It's not desire to receive. So let's say Nina upset me. Okay, she said something that upset me. And I can't talk to her for 2 weeks about the situation because I have to not feel whatever I'm feeling. Once I'm feeling okay, in order to help Nina, I'm gonna tell Nina, you know, when you snap like this, it comes across like that. And what a blessing for Nina. Don't you wish somebody would come to you and tell you what your tikkun is? Don't you wish somebody would come and be like, hey, I see your cavity. Would you like to work on that? Instead of us trying to like figure it out.
Is it always my job to do that? I'm just curious. Like if we have a friend that needs
It's if the person cannot hear you, you're silent. Because you're pouring water into a vessel that can't contain it, and you're gonna cause chaos.
So we have to have the intuition inside ourselves.
You have to read. You have to read it.
Well,
That's hard.
I feel like if you've
So hard.
tried once and the person's not hearing what you're saying, then you know that you're wasting your breath. It's like talking to a wall. You know, right?
You shouldn't try again. Like
I don't
They
know.
have to want it. Have you been in a conversation where someone's talking to you and they miss the cue that you're no longer interested and they just keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay. You need to you need to read that cue because they have to be able to hear it, want to hear it, and be able to do something about it. Okay, that's going to be more in a few classes when we talk about confrontation. But if you're not at those things, if I'm pouring water into a cup that can't contain it, I'm actually creating more negativity.
So it's only our obligation if they're open to hearing. If we feel they're open to hearing.
Can I say something? Can I just share something for me personally
Yeah.
in friendships? Like I actually get happy if someone that I'm especially close to that I like comes and talks to me about how they feel, because I feel like then our relationship can move forward, right? Because otherwise you're like stuck here and it's a very surface friendship. Whereas if someone comes and tells me like, this is what happened, this is how I feel, and it's like a very open dialogue, right? Then you can become closer and closer right?
Because the intention of the communication was unity.
Right.
The intention.
So when you have that
Yes.
intention with someone and you're not coming from
Yes.
a place of, that was kind of my point I was gonna, when you have the intention of like repairing or helping rather than the frustration that you were talking about, I feel like that's the difference in.
Let's say, Nina, I'm going to use you as an
Okay.
example. Sorry to pick on you.
No, I love it.
Let's say Nina hurt me. She annoyed me. She bothered me. And I want to come and tell her. Okay? If I come to her and be like, Nina, you know what you did? Okay? I'm coming from a place of pain and hurt. Even if I say it in the nicest way, if my energy is coming from that place of lack, it's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be a disaster. Okay? Let's say I do that. What happens next? Nina gets defensive. I'm not selfish, you're selfish. Look what you did. You did all these things. I am so great. I do this, you do this. It doesn't go.
Your bird is back.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. It doesn't go anywhere, but we'll talk about more when we get to communication. But the goal of that is unity.
Right.
And that's another aspect of the creator. It's not to be right. If you want to be right, if you want them to be like, I'm wrong, you're right, you lost.
I think that when people like confront people, their intention is that I want you to not do that to me again. So I'm telling you because
Correct.
I don't want you to do that.
You're trying to
I don't
change
wanna
the
do-
person.
But I think that you have to change it to this happened to me for a reason and I'm taking it as a lesson to learn from it. And the only reason if you do tell your friend later is because you want to help them as a friend to grow.
Yes.
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 Exactly.
I've never felt so proud. I feel like my daughter went to Harvard. That was great.
You're a good teacher.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because if I'm trying to change Nina right now in this world, it's futile because this is my Truman Show. Nina's a puppet. Okay, it's futile. Nina will only change when she wants to in her world. And that whatever Nina's doing is going to keep on happening until, like you said, you look at your own stuff and figure out why it's in your life and work on that. Okay, so how does Satan talk to you? Okay, Satan talks to everyone differently. It's good to recognize how he speaks. Sorry, my back is to you. So to someone, he might say, wow, you're so amazing. You're so good at everything. Look at all these peasants. They need to learn from you. Let's say someone has a lot of discipline in a certain diet, okay? And they've mastered this diet and their body's transformed. And then they go out into the real world and they see people eating, I don't know, Cheetos. And they're thinking to themselves, if they knew what I knew. You know, so what is their Satan telling them? You're amazing, you're awesome, okay? Another thing Satan says to you, maybe Satan will say, you're such a horrible person. You can't do anything right. Look, you failed again. Everyone's judging you. Nobody likes you. Nobody's gonna invite you. Whatever, okay? You're nothing, all that stuff. That's another way. Don't let people disrespect you. How could they disrespect you? How could they talk to you like that? No one can talk to me like that. They didn't include me, my kid, my husband, whatever. How could they? That's so disrespectful. I invited them. They didn't invite me. That's another one. That's ego. Anything that comes from ego, that's Satan. Okay? Ego and Satan are one and the same.
Does Satan have to talk or it's a feeling?
It's a feeling. It's what motivates
anxiety,
you.
Satan?
Yep. Yep. Satan gives you anxiety to make you be reactive, to make you not have trust, not have certainty, not act like the lights. Because what are you going to do when you have anxiety? You want to fix it. You're running to fix it. Anything you do to run to fix it is reactive. You gave more energy to Satan. Okay, fair. That's not fair. I just want things to be fair. Fair is Satan. Okay? It doesn't matter if something is fair or not. It doesn't matter, I don't deserve this, I deserve this. None of that matters. That's all Satan. The do-gooder. Okay? Sometimes we do things, and as soon as you do it, you feel like, I'm such a good person. I did that. That's Satan. We don't do good things to feel good. Okay? That's selfish. If that's how it starts, fine. Kind of like when you tell your daughter, like I always tell my kids, if you share with your sibling, I'll give you the same thing you just shared, to encourage them to share. But that should never be the reason they share. You do that for little kids until they develop that muscle. Okay? So you're so good. You helped that person. You're a mitzvah girl. That's 100% Satan. Okay?
They do Chabad every day.
What?
In Chabad, they say you're a mitzvah girl every day. They say that. The teachers, I'm just saying.
They're trying to, they say to the children to try to motivate them. But when you have that pride, that ego of like, I'm so good, look what I did. That's yeah. You make a mistake, right? You make a mistake, what happens? You feel shame, you feel guilt. That's also Satan. Oh, this is my favorite, the Me Too. We all have a friend like this, okay? Imagine you're in conversation, right? And people are talking and maybe you don't feel included. Maybe they're talking about, I don't know, somewhere they went, someone they know, something they did, and you want to be a part of it. So what do you say? Me too. I went there too. I have that too. I'm cool too, right? The Me Too, that's Satan. Why? Because you're coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of wanting to be accepted, wanting to be liked, wanting to be a part of it. It's not, would the light ever come and say Me Too?
Is it like FOMO?
Yeah. What's FOMO is the epitome of Satan and reactiveness. Anything you do from FOMO is going to backfire on you. If you ever have FOMO, know that that's your sign not to get involved. Okay? I'm going to finish this, then I'll talk a little more about that. Please remind me. Okay, perfect. The next one was this. So everything is cause and effect. So when you're saying FOMO, let's say Nina has a party, okay? And I don't know, I can't go, or I have 2 events or something, and I go out of FOMO. If I go to her party out of FOMO, I went from a reactive place, okay? Nothing positive is gonna come from that, okay? Because the root was reactive, okay? The foundation was reactive. So Satan controls time, okay? So everything has cause and effect. If I put out negativity in the world, okay, in the form of reactive behavior or whatever, it's gonna come back to me. What Satan does is, so you don't see cause and effect, because you wouldn't do it. If I say, Nina, you're ugly, and then the hot tea spills on me, I won't say, Nina, you're ugly, right? You're beautiful, by the way. But you get what I'm trying to say. If I do something negative and I see the consequence immediately, you're just not gonna do the negative thing. To have free will, you have to make that choice. There has to be time and space between the cause and effect. So if I put something negative, I went to your party out of FOMO, right? 6 weeks later, I'm at dinner, pasta spills on my dress, okay? Whatever the thing is. The effect, the cause and effect have space between them so you don't see they're connected. But when you put out negative seeds, you will have negative trees.
I have a question. Sorry. Let's say someone does something to you, and I'm just thinking of my kids right now and giving them advice. So if someone does something to you, it hurt your feelings, and you don't want to talk about it, and you just kind of ignore the person or avoid the person, which is what they do. So it eventually just makes you distant from that person. You're not their friend. You're not as close anymore. You're just distant. You'll see each other. What if you don't want that to happen?
Okay, so if your nature is to not talk and shut down, then proactive for you is to go against your nature. Do you get it? And say something with the consciousness of unity to have a better relationship. Right? Because every relationship is a threesome. It's you, me, and the light. You have to, everything has to be in that context.
That's good for me too. Because I'm very non-confrontational.
I also shut down.
I shut down too.
I shut down too. I don't want to deal with it. I hate confrontation. But you have to think, in order to make the friendship better, in order to have unity, in order to move past this, let me tell you, and hopefully that person is open to hearing it. And if they're not, it doesn't matter. You do your part, they're the puppet. Yeah, someone else, you wanted to?
I just want to ask, so like you used the example of spilling on your lap. Could it filter on to like husband, kids?
Of course it can.
So like,
Of course it can. Yeah, you bring negativity into your, the example that I give, because I feel like as Persian moms, we're so invested into our kids. I say when you're reactive, your kids are gonna marry some like, if you're proactive, they'll marry like a prince. Right? So in that moment, when you pause, okay, think to yourself, here's my moment, let me get it. Because it's true, what you're doing is you're shifting up your movie. Your kids are with you, they get light channeled through you. So you're shifting your whole family's movie. You're creating opportunities for them. I don't want to go long on the class, but tell me if you guys are okay with time and I'll give it another 10 minutes.
I'm
Okay.
gonna step out soon, just so you know.
Okay.
Not being rude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes to one.
Okay, so I'll wrap it up. I'll talk about that one next time. I'm gonna finish off with Satan so we don't go into it next week. But there's two types of Satan. There's two energies of Satan. The male energy of Satan, and it's the main tikkun of the man, is sexual. Okay? Sperm has the most light behind it. It has the most energy. So that's why men, their tikkun, all men, their tikkun is sexually based and word based. Okay? If they can control those two things, they're golden. Okay? Women's tikkun comes in with sadness and guilt. That's why we always feel sad and guilt. So I'm not saying women only have this, men only have this. It's two aspects of how Satan gets us. Okay? One is with lust, right? So the lust would come across as jealousy, would come across as I'm running to eat the cake, like with my fists. When you lust after something, it's the male aspect of Satan that you're tapping into. This is just good information. It doesn't really, The female aspect of Satan is after I eat the cake. Oh my God, why did I eat it? I shouldn't have eaten it. I'm such a horrible person that I ate it. That comes out afterwards. That's the female aspect of Satan. You want to do a workshop?
yeah.
Okay. So speak with your partner, the person next to you, about how Satan, where you see the most amount of Satan in your life, the most amount of challenge in your life, and how Satan speaks to you.
Okay.